Well, tonight, Health CS Susan Nakhumicha asks Kenyans to be patient with her as she drains the swamp that is corruption at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA. We have that story among others. Plus, tonight, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha appeals to Kenyans, including those demanding her resignation due to corruption allegations, to grant her the opportunity to address the issues affecting KEMSA.
And when I was speaking to Twalib on Monday on WhatsApp, asking him whether he has received my letter, he said he hadn't. And that is how corruption fights back in this country.
One family on the outskirts of Malindi town remains in complete darkness regarding the whereabouts of their 5 loved ones who were in Shakahola under the influence of the controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie. And President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga's 14-member bipartisan team has taken the first steps in initiating reforms at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC.
As you will have noticed from the 2 respective teams, the IEBC question is a common issue to both teams.
We are actually agreeing on one issue after the other. We seem to be headed in the right direction.
Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Rhoda Nyamai. As the KEMSA anti-malaria net scandal intensifies, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha says she will hell-bent on fighting corruption in the Ministry of Health, which has since been christened the Mafia House. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, the CS remarks come just hours after President William Ruto made changes in the Principal Secretary's position, which has greatly affected the ministry. Have a look.
Just days after the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA 3.7 billion Kenya shillings anti-malaria net scandal was revealed by the Global Fund, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha now says that she blew the whistle to EACC on the matter, but some senior officials at the ministry stopped her letter from reaching EACC CEO Twalib Mbarak.
And that is how corruption fights back in this country. That when I wrote a letter on Thursday, EACC is only a few meters from my office. By Monday, the letter had not arrived. But thankfully, Twalib confirmed to me and said, Madam CS, you don't have to worry. I have already released my officers. And they're already at KEMSA doing their work.
CS Nakhumicha has also revealed that this is not the first time the ministry clashed with some members of the KEMSA board.
My few days in office, I told the CEO KEMSA, my friend, from today, I want to see pre-qualification through an information management system. And she told me, Madam CEO, the PPOA Act does not allow us to do it, and it is too costly to do it. I told her, I know somebody who will do it for free. And when the person went to visit, the CEO was not present.
In his maiden public address after assuming office, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chair Bishop David Oginde now says they have commenced investigations into the net scandal and will later table their findings with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
We have a whole investigative department that is going to look at where were the loopholes, what were the things that happened, who are the culpable people, and they will be invited for interviews, and those people who are found to be culpable, then we will forward their names with the relevant evidence to the DPP for further action.
Some of the embattled officials at the Ministry of Health include Martin Wamwea, Lenson Kariuki, Dr. Pauline Duya, and Livingstone Njuguna. Health CS now insists that anyone found guilty will face the law.
So internally, we have made the suspension based on their involvement at that level. However, I personally wrote to EACC and they have come to do a thorough investigation. Should they find that my name is anywhere or I have been involved in any way, I believe your question then will come in handy in terms of knowing what I will do.
The KEMSA scandal has forced President William Ruto to make changes in not only the Health Ministry and KEMSA, but also in the docket of principal secretaries, with Harry Kimutai taking up the role of Medical Services Principal Secretary, a position previously held by Peter Tum, who has since been transferred to the Ministry of Sports. Mary Mudhoni is the new Principal Secretary for Public Health and Professional Standards after Josephine Mburu was sent packing.
Kenyans know that the president cracked the whip to the extent of terminating contract of one of my PSs, and now with that reshuffle. But as it is Kenyan culture, in reading the president's speech, everybody missed out on the step that had been taken by the cabinet secretary.
On CS, we realized that at this particular point there exists a noose around your neck. There are some people who are baying for your blood with regard to several allegations of corrupt practices in your ministry.
Global Fund has since cancelled the 3.7 billion tender and offered it directly to its own online procurement wing, wambo.org. The Ministry of Health had until the 8th of May to sign the handover documents, with CS Nakumicha confirming that they are now taking up the matter.
Therefore, I am in agreement with the Global Fund that the nets shall be procured through wambo.org so that we shorten the time and ensure then there are no gaps in supply. However, we are improving our system. The next procurement, we shall do it ourselves.
EACC has today launched a survey report on the nature and extent of corruption and unethical conduct in Kenya's health sector, where it was established that the sector is the second leading institution in corruption at over 18%. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, from one scandal to another, and this one regards a consignment of imported sugar in the country that was imported back in the year 2018. Some news just in. The consignment, which comprised of 20,000 bags, each bag that was 50 kgs, 50 kilograms, had been condemned by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and it was decided that it was unfit for human consumption. And the KEBS, that's the Kenya Bureau of Standards, had directed that the consignment be reshipped and destroyed. But it has been discovered that it was irregularly diverted and procedurally released, and the conditions relating to open and competitive enlisting of the distiller were breached, and the applicable taxes were not paid. This, of course, is some news that we're getting right now, and we are keeping a close eye on that. But in light of that, the Cabinet Secretaries for National Treasury and Economic Planning and Investments, Trade and Industry have sanctioned administrative action to suspend some officers, the following officers from the Kenya Bureau of Standards. We have Bernard Njaraini, the Managing Director, Dr. Geoffrey Murira, the Director, Quality Assurance and Inspection, Hilda Keror, the Manager, Inspection, Mombasa Port Office, Liston Lagat, who's the Assistant Manager, ICDA Nairobi, Rono Birgen, Chief Manager, ICDA Nairobi, and then from the Kenya Revenue Authority, of course, we have Joseph Kaguru, Mwanja Masinde, Stephen Wiruri, Moses Okoth, Doris Mutembei, Chacha Hondo, Carol Nyegechi, and Derek Kago. The National Police Service has also been affected. Some officers from the NPS include George Midamo and Joel Kirui. And at the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, that is the DCI, Banan Ngumbi and Raphael Mwaka have also been suspended. At the Agriculture and Food Authority, that is the AFA, Oscar Kai, Patrick Magut, Joseph Maita Mweni from the Port Health, Isako Bonai from NEMA, and Stephen Cheriot from the Anti-Counterfeit Agency, Daniel Ngugi Kefis, Willie Kosgei from EACC, and Edwin Ruto. Of course, those are some of the officers that have been suspended regarding to the illegal, or rather the shipment of sugar that was not fit for human consumption back in 2018, and which was condemned by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And it was decided that it was not fit for human consumption, but as of today, it was discovered that the sugar was illegally diverted and was to get back to the market. Of course, that is a story that we are keeping a close eye on. Now, moving on, as the rot in the public sector continues to unleash or unravel due to the corruption matters, President William Ruto has emphasized integrity and vigilance within government ministries and departments. The recent axing of the KEMSA board due to misappropriation of funds now reawakens the past scandals that remained unresolved with the independent institutions facing political interference. Have a look.
Even before the dust settles on the COVID-19 medicine supply scandal, another mosquito net scandal is brewing at Kenya Medical Supplies Authorities, KEMSA, raising questions on the dependency of the relevant authorities to deal with corruption cases in the country. In the latest Corruption Perception Index released by Transparency International in January this year, Kenya has been ranked position 123 out of 180 countries globally in terms of magnitude of corruption.
We need to tighten the laws of corruption, number one. We need to allow the independent institutions like EACC to conduct their work. Okay, because once politicians or top members of the government make those comments, it demoralizes the prosecutions, the prosecutors, the investigators, and many others who are in that chain.
I think Kenya is dwindling in terms of making progress and regressing at the same time. And that's largely because of lack of adherence to set legislations and policies that are supposed to guard against corruption in Kenya.
Ethics and Anti-Corruption Chairman Bishop David Oginde has revealed his plan to slay the vice that has been cited as the biggest impediment to development in the country and one he himself has termed as Kenya's worst enemy.
I say that EACC is working very hard towards helping the various institutions of government to work on preventive measures against corruption rather than for us to wait for corruption to happen and then go after the people who have been involved.
However, governance experts opine that the appointment of clergymen in these commissions to deal with corruption is a way of blinding the public to assume that the men of the cloth will act with integrity.
It is a game that is being played by the people who put, or rather appoint, the chairs of some of these commissions, and they are playing that game because they think that Kenyans are gullible and that Kenyans are not informed and that Kenyans probably forget too fast. Because Bishop Oginde is not the first religious leader that we are seeing at the apex of Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
Even as efforts continue to be made to fight the vice, constitutional lawyers say political interference is still a big challenge as far as combating graft is concerned.
So we have a problem with our ODPP still, because the office has not been insulated from political pressure and political influence that is sometimes exerted on these people to enable them make decisions that may not be favorable to the country.
Because politicians might only stifle the commission, and we have also seen that working very, very badly against the commission in the past. So they also have to feel that the commission is working for citizens and also be able to give the commission enough resources to do its work without political interference.
Since the inauguration of President William Ruto, the Director of Public Prosecutions has been on a spree of dropping high-profile cases, including Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's 7.3 billion shillings graft case, Public Service CS Aisha Jumwa's 19 billion shillings graft case, and former Kenya Power MD 400 million shillings graft case, among others. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Well, thank you, Flora Limuki, for that. Now, students seeking to join institutions of higher learning in September this year have an opportunity to make choices on the schools and programs that they would want to study based on the income levels of their households. This is because the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service will publish the total fees of all programs being offered in the institutions of higher learning as a guide for the students. Our senior education reporter Sharon Baranga with more on that story.
All students who sat for the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Examination can now apply for placement to universities and colleges after Education CS Ezekiel Machogu launched the placement earlier today.
I expect the placement agents to mount a robust communication and sensitization exercise to ensure all students have details of the application process and also to complete this exercise by August 2023 to allow students to report their respective universities in September.
According to the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service, KUSPS, all qualified candidates will be placed to the various programs based on merit and choice to the institutions of higher learning.
I will therefore to inform all the 173,127 candidates who attained the minimum university entry grade of C+ in the 2022 KCSE examination that they qualify to be pressed to degree programs. Those with the C brain and below will be absorbed in TVET institutions across the country. And of course, that does not stop one, even if he or she has a C+, a B, or even an A, from joining a TVET institution if he also so wishes.
Upon being selected, students will be given the option to apply for government scholarships from the Universities Fund and the Higher Education Loans Board. Students who will select courses in public universities will be eligible to access both the government loans and scholarships, while those who will select private universities will be eligible for government loans only.
One of the key highlights of this new model is that the government linked the process of placement of our students to higher learning institutions from funding with effect from this year placement cycle. Under the new system, as directed by His Excellency the President, the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service will place all qualified candidates to various programs based on merit and a choice to universities, colleges, national polytechnics, and other TVET institutions. The Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service will publish the total fees details of all programs in universities, colleges, national polytechnics, and other TVET institutions to guide students in making choices based on the income levels of their households, programs of study, and the institution they wish to join.
Students can also apply for their courses from all the 52 Huduma centers countrywide.
The placement agency has already trained all the relevant officers at the Huduma Center on how to offer necessary assistance to all students in the application process.
KUSPS received programs and capacities from 39 public universities, 33 private universities, 3 secondary teachers training colleges, and 205 public TVET colleges for the 2023-2024 placement cycle. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
Well, moving on, 15 more bodies have been recovered at the Shakahola Forest in Kilifi County as the search for victims of a suspected starvation cult continues. This now brings the death toll to 227, with the second phase of post-mortem exercise set to begin.
9 a.m. Wednesday. And for the second day after the brief suspension of the exhumation, detectives have begun getting deeper into the 800-acre piece of land as they search for more graves believed to be of victims of controversial Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who is believed to have brainwashed his supporters to fast to death. Today, the detectives managed to exhume 15 bodies. One body was recovered from the forest, pushing the death toll to 227.
Ile timu ambayo inahusika kwa mambo ya kufukua mili imeweza kufukua mili 15, na pia ile timu yetu ya kutafuta watu pale kichakani imeweza kupata mwili moja. Kwa hivyo leo tuko na mili 16.
One person was rescued, making the number of those rescued rise to 85, with those arrested on accusation of collusion with Mackenzie remaining at 31.
Na ile timu ambayo inahusika kwa kuwatafuta wenzetu pale kichakani imeweza kumwokoa mwanaume mtu mzima akiwa kwa hali mzuri. Wale ambao tumeweza kuwakamata bado wanabaki 31.
The discovery, which has been termed as a massacre by civil society groups, has so far seen 610 people still missing. Detectives say they are likely to wrap up the exercise sooner so as to begin the second phase of post-mortem on the bodies. Mackenzie is still in custody and has not yet been charged. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Let's stay on that beat. And speaking of those missing, and the family in the Kafusini area on the outskirts of Malindi have remained in the dark about the whereabouts of 5 of their loved ones who were in the controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie's church in Shakahola. According to them, their sister, who was known as Mtumishi Janet, left her job and her marriage with her Italian husband and followed Mackenzie in Shakahola alongside her 3 children and her nephew. And until now, their whereabouts are unknown. Violeta Oma reports.
It is late in the afternoon when we arrive in Kasufini area on the outskirts of Malindi town. This is the home of Mtumishi Janet. Janet's sister Paris Dhahabu and Mary Kazungu tells me that the sister, who was Mackenzie's assistant in Shakahola Church, and Mtumishi title in the neighborhood.
Kila kiongea ni papa. Kwa kaja akatuambia na sisi itabidi na nyinyi muende kanisani, tuende kanisani kwa Mackenzie. Nikamwambia mimi sijafikisha kwenda kanisani. Akanambia wewe nenda kanisani kwa sababu saa hii dunia itakuja kuisha. Hii dunia itakuja kuisha, wewe utapokelewa na nani?
They say that Janet, who was at one time a leader of Good News International Church in Gongoni, chose to leave her job and her marriage with a white man to follow Mackenzie.
Alivyoshikana na Mackenzie tu, Mackenzie akambadilisha. Akabidi akadivorce kwa sababu Mackenzie akaona ile anasema kama unaenda kwa kanisa lake anasema si vizuri kukaa na mwanamume.
Ndio hawa watoto wa dadangu akatoa kwa sababu walikuwa wanasoma Little Angels, akatoa kwa hiyo shule. Wakao kila siku asubuhi wanapandishwa kwa bike, wanaenda Frunzi kwa ile kanisa, wanaenda kufundishwa mambo ya Bible hapo. Kwa hiyo walikuwa hawaendi shule.
Mary Kazungu, Mtumishi's young sister, says that her sister told her that she had bought a farm in Shakahola for farming in order to bring food home. Little did she know of what will befall her there. In 2016, her sister managed to convince their father to join the church, but he died 2 months after joining Mackenzie. She says that her sister once wanted to sell her house worth 2.5 million to take the money to Mackenzie in the forest.
Akaitafuta makaratasi hakuiona. Sasa katika ule mfungo ukampata kabla hajapata yale makaratasi ya zile nyumba. Ndo akafa kabla hizo nyumba, lakini kama angelikuwa amepata zile makaratasi angelikuwa ameuza. Kwa maana wenzake wote wameshauza.
Dhahabu and Mary says that the efforts to free the loved ones from Mackenzie's clutches did not bear fruits as the police turned a deaf ear to their plea.
Tukasikia mwezi wa kwanza ilikuwa ni watoto wanaanzishwa mwezi wa kwanza, kufunga ikifika saa 12 wanapewa chakula. Ikaenda wakasema Mackenzie akasema saa hii ni ya watoto kwenda mbinguni. Kwa hivyo saa hii watoto mnawafungisha, msiwape chakula, wanakufa wanaenda mbinguni. Mwezi wa 3 ulikuwa ni wa kina mama. Sasa ikaendelea hivyo kwa hapo ilipofikia sana, bado sisi tunatafuta familia yetu hatujaipata.
Mtumishi Janet, as she's known here, along with her 3 children and her nephew, are feared to be among the hundreds who fasted to death in Shakahola forest to meet Jesus.
Sasa nikamwambia nimekuja kutafuta familia yangu, nikamwonyesha hiyo picha. Akanambia basi huyu kama ni dadako alikufa hapo katikati ya msitu, hata alibebwa na wheelbarrow. Ona ule kijana akanirudisha huku nyuma sasa. Akanambia ona ule kijana mwenye amesimama kule, yule ndo alibeba mwili na wheelbarrow, tulimemweka kwa wheelbarrow, tukaja tukachukua maiti yake tukaiweka huku mbele ili askari wakikuja waje apate huo mwili uko huku mbele.
At the moment it has become a ritual for them. Every day they go to hospital to find their loved ones among those who have been rescued or bodies exhumed while waiting for the DNA results.
Nile nikaanza kufikiria vile dadangu alikuwa akinifanyia, venye tulikuwa, na alikuwa ni mtu mzuri, anakuambia kama kuna kitu alikuwa hapendi, alikuwa ni muwazi.
All that is left for them is to pray to find their loved ones alive or dead, at least to give them their last respect.
Tunaomba tu ongeze hizo bidii kututafutia watu, hata kama itakuwa wamekufa, lakini tuwapate tuzike tu wenyewe.
So far, over 200 bodies have been exhumed from Shakahola, while the process of exhuming other bodies continues. Reporting for TV47, I'm Violet Auma.
Well, to matters politics now. Tonight, President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga's 14-member bipartisan team has today initiated plans to kickstart reforms at the electoral body IEBC, terming it a matter of utmost importance. The bipartisan team has formed a 6-member subcommittee with 2 co-chairs to midwife reforms at IEBC and reconstitute the selection panel that will nominate new IEBC commissioners. Apollo Kamau reports on a day the bipartisan team agreed on a hybrid process for the bipartisan talks.
The race to reconstitute electoral body IEBC, the heartbeat of Azimio leader Raila Odinga's fallout with President William Ruto over the contested August 9 presidential results, will be the 14-member bipartisan team's first agenda when the two sides convene for the next joint sitting.
As you will have noticed from the 2 respective teams, the IEBC question is a common issue to both teams. We have discussed and we have agreed that it's one of utmost importance and we'll prioritize it. And therefore we have agreed that when we resume our next sitting, that's the next item we are going to deal with so that it's off the table.
We are actually agreeing on one issue after the other. We seem to be headed in the right direction, if you can commend us for that.
Yes.
That we are agreeing, even where there appears to be a disagreement. After we sit down, after we talk at arm's length, that means we talk without being coerced, influenced.
The bipartisan team has nominated among themselves a 6-member subcommittee tasked to midwife IEBC reforms, among them reconstituting the selection panel to pick new IEBC commissioners. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna will lead the Azimio team that also includes Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua and Suba North MP Millie Odhiambo. On the Kenya Kwanza side, Bomet Senator Hilary Sigei will lead his team that is made up of Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale and Kibwezi West MP Mwengi Mutuse.
We expect that by the time we come back, they'll have concretized thoughts around that. And we take the early opportunity that on that selection, that idea of reconstitution of the IEBC, anyone with any idea is welcome to share it with us through our joint secretaries so that we can factor in our discussion.
Azimio and Kenya Kwanza face a daunting task of how to handle Azimio's key demand of auditing IEBC election result servers, with Kenya Kwanza confining itself on the reconstitution of the selection panel to pick new commissioners. On Tuesday, Odinga expressed his satisfaction with the talks' progress, which have also overcome another hurdle on the form the dialogue should take, with the bipartisan team striking consensus on a hybrid process, meaning the process will be inside and outside Parliament to involve experts. The bipartisan team has also written to the 2 speakers of the 2 houses of Parliament to seek recognition and a budget to undertake its mandate. With the bipartisan team striking consensus on the formalization of the process, the next phase is tackling the issues with IEBC top on the agenda. Apol Kamau, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, thank you, Apollo Kamau, for that. Now, tension is high in Loruk, Baringo North, after suspected armed bandits allegedly staged a raid, shooting 1 person and seriously injuring him before making away with over 300 heads of cattle towards Paka Hills in Tiaty. The suspected bandits, who were heavily armed, struck today at around 12 noon while the cows were grazing, shooting indiscriminately, forcing herders running away. The raid comes just days after week-long prayers, an initiative by First Lady Rachel Ruto to pray for peace in the 6 counties, which has been declared disturbed and dangerous. The raid has since forced residents of Tiaty living in Loruk to close shops for fear of a retaliatory attack.
Wapokot wamepenya na wamepeleka mpaka wamechukua ng'ombe kuelekea pande ile ya Tiaty, area ya Loyamorok ward. Na so nawaomba serikali, hii kitu imetuletea umaskini area hii sana. Watu wetu wameumia, hawalipi school fees, hawakuli, wamekuwa beggars, wanaomba.
Ndio hiyo sasa nalia kusunguka sanda yote. Hiyo watu anachukua ng'ombe yote. Sisi ni msikini sana. Hata sijui tafanya nini. Hata sijui serikali iko wapi. Kwanza hii watu ni watu ya karibu. Watu yetu ile natembea pamoja, anakula pamoja, nafanya biashara pamoja, anakuja kuiba sisi. Sisi serikali kutoka Gavana na MCA na mchumbe. Leo hataki kitu ya kutanganya, kusema napeleka ng'ombe alapo na kwenda kutafuta. Nataka serikali kama watu nachukua ng'ombe yetu, atoa pesa ya county anapatia sisi, asomesha watoto yetu.
Serikali ya Ruto ndio tutapona naye. lakini inaonekana tunaishi kwa hofu zaidi. Unaona inafika mpaka town. Mahali ilichukuliwa hiyo ng'ombe ni hapa, sio hata mahali pengine. Hawezi fika mita 300. Mpaka saa hii mimi nilikuwa na ng'ombe 3 mesa. Hata sijui. Unjao 3 kwa nyumba. Saa hii. Mwende mkangalie. Sijui talisha na nini.
Well, in a few, we'll be telling you what the government is planning for that particular area and others that have been declared as disturbed and dangerous in a few. At 29 minutes past the hour, time now for a very short break. Don't go away, we'll be back with more.
You are watching TV47.
For the biggest of guests, from politicians to entertainers to content creators to whichever kind of a person you want to think that you'd want to see on the show, this is the place to be. Dr. Funike tonight.
Each and every Wednesday. My name is DJ Lisney, not your ordinary DJ.
And of course, they call me the eagle himself. Your host, Dr. Funike, is my name. Of course, every Wednesday at 7:30. See you there and don't touch.
Make sure to join us.
Tell your landlord as well. Jua unalipia wa parent.
Sikose.
From politics, health, cooking, relationships, and entertainment, join Linda Alela every weekday from 6 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Your health is not just about going to the hospital. Your health is about prevention, it's about what you eat, it's about where you live. For this reason, the Body Garage Show exists.
The part of the brain.
Mombasa, hapa ndipo. Welcome to the Mwai Kibaki Convention.
For the biggest of guests, from politicians to entertainers to content creators to whichever kind of a person you want to think that you'd want to see on the show, this is the place to be. Dr. Funike tonight.
Each and every Wednesday. My name is DJ Lisney, not your ordinary DJ.
And of course, they call me the eagle himself. Your host, Dr. Funike, is my name. Of course, every Wednesday at 7:30. See you there and don't touch.
Make sure to join us.
Tell your landlord as well. Jua unalipia wa parent.
Sikose.
And book your event.
Sasa sote tuko
For the biggest of guests, from politicians to entertainers to content creators to whichever kind of a person you want to think that you'd want to see on the show, this is the place to be. Dr. Funike tonight.
Each and every Wednesday.
usawa ni upendo, afya bora bila ubaguzi.
For the biggest of guests, from politicians to entertainers to content creators to whichever kind of a person you want to think.
TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The government has extended the ongoing curfew in 6 counties where security operations have been ongoing to flash out bandits with 30 more days. This comes in the wake of another banditry attack at Enasoit Ranch in Laikipia County over the weekend, where one National Police reservist was shot by bandits and seriously injured in a cattle rustling attempt. Interior CES Professor Kithure Kindiki, who toured Laikipia Operation Zone and also visited the officer at Cottage Hospital Nanyuki, said that the operation will continue and no particular time the security officers will be removed from these zones.
Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki has declared the continuation of the dusk to dawn curfew in parts of 6 counties in the Rift Valley region, among them Laikipia, where Mukogodo was declared as a disturbed and dangerous area, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Samburu, and Turkana.
With effect from midnight today for another 30 days. And please don't ask me when the operation will end, because I don't know. The operation will end when we are done with the bandits. And finally, even when the operation is called off, whenever that will be, we will not pull back.
Even after the operation is concluded, the multi-agency security team will remain on the ground to ensure that bandits and other armed criminals do not regroup to terrorize residents. Mukogodo Forest is part of the areas gazetted as dangerous and disturbed. It is now out of bounds for all the unauthorized persons. Security officers will continue to comb the forest and pursue criminals holed up there. On the better part of the afternoon, the CS assessed the progress, success, and challenges facing the ongoing joint NPS-KDF operation, dubbed Maliza Uhalifu. He then visited the Naibo Astu camp in Laikipia North constituency to give moral support to the multi-agency security team that recovered all the 75 hearts of cattle stolen from Enasoit Ranch earlier this week, before embarking to visit a National Police Reservist Stephen Murijo, who was critically injured by bandits during the recovery.
At the same time, during the encounter that our officers from Naibor Astu camp and the other agencies that were supporting them, during that encounter, one of the National Police Reservists was critically injured by the fire of bandits.
The CS revealed that the government will give all police reservists medical cover through the National Hospital Insurance Fund (NHIF) to ensure their well-being while tackling banditry. The CS was accompanied by top security officials, among them Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of Administration Police Nur Gabo and Laikipia County Commissioner Joseph Kanyiri, among others. Also announced plans to upscale the police equipment, modernization program to include aerial surveillance and acquisition of armored vehicles. He further said that the security personnel posted in camps in the banditry-affected areas will remain in the areas even after the menace was eradicated. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Well, moving on, while the government is planning to start the process of second phase of oil exploration in the Lokicha Turkana South area, Turkana leaders led by the governor Jeremiah Lomurkai have opposed the move, saying they will never agree until the government adheres to their demands. A reporter from Turkana County, Kitio Mika Masai, has the details.
So far, it is without a doubt that Turkana County is rich in underground oil, which comes as ironical because the same Turkana County has become anonymous with not only drought and hunger, but also rampant poverty. Close to a decade after the discovery that was touted as one that would change the lives of the residents for the better, residents here say they feel cheated and they have the short end of the stick. So bad is the situation that the residents and leaders have strongly opposed the second phase of the exploration earmarked for soon by the government.
Afadhali tuone mafuta mpaka wakubaliane na sisi. Siku moja watakubali, si mafuta ziko kwa mchanga. Kwani itaenda wapi? Tusipokubaliana tusitop mambo ya mafuta.
Wewe kwanza enda ongea na mwenye mchanga, elewana na yeye bei. Baada ya kuelewana na bei,
Anza kuongea story nyingine.
We have to stress on the fact that what is enough for you to take as part of the land where we have the oil fields.
However, Turkana Senator James Lomenen said they would like the government to explain more where the money from the first phase of oil sales went so that they can allow oil extraction to continue in the next phase.
Ile mafuta ya Turkana ya hiyo ambayo ilienda Lamu ikauza kwa KEM, China Limited Company. Hiyo 1.5 billion.
The leaders say that they are ready to allow oil drilling if 20% of the oil money goes to the Turkana County government, while 5% goes to the Turkana community.
We are ready to discuss with you on the 25%. How are we going to get the 25%? 20 for county government and 5 for the community.
Mwelekeo wetu kuhakikisha tumepata faida ya mafuta. Sio kuleta vitu vingine ya ukoro ya kukula na kusave a lot of money ile itafanya uwe tajiri.
Kitio Mika Masai, TV47 Lodwar in Turkana County.
Well, thank you for that, Kitio Mika. To the corridors of justice now, Nairobi lawyer Duncan Okatch says the office of the DPP has recommended an inquest into the death of Jeff Mwathi, who was found dead in DJ Fatso's Kasarani apartment. This coming days after Mwathi's family alleged a cover-up in the matter. Here's more.
Weeks after the Directorate of Criminal Investigations forwarded their findings to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to determine how the matter into Jeff Mwathi's death should proceed, new information has come to light. The new information coming from one of the parties who are being investigated over the death of the 23-year-old interior designer Jeff Mwathi. The popular Kikuyu musician Lawrence Njuguna, also known by his stage name DJ Fatso. According to his lawyers, a report from the ODPP, which they had earlier requested, vindicating their client.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, having professionally analyzed this particular file, they have come to a finding that they do agree with the findings of the DCI. They do agree that indeed the investigations were comprehensive.
DJ Fatso, who was a man of interest into the matter, with the body of the late being found at his Kasarani apartment, and for weeks, detectives drawn from the Homicide Division took over the matter with fresh investigations launched following a public outcry. Okatch maintaining his client was not linked in any way into the mysterious death of Mwathi, recommended for an inquest into the matter.
Our client is innocent, has been demonstrated through a process to now be innocent, and through that the Director of Public Prosecutions has indicated that this file, and that's a recommendation, ought to pursue the inquest route.
Also taking to social media, breaking his silence over the matter since the investigations into the matter was launched by DCI, the disc joker passed a message of condolence to Mwathi's family, while at the same time calling on the public not to jump into conclusions and pass judgment based on hearsay, observing that the investigations cleared his name over any involvement into the death of Mwathi.
As the record states now, the issue of this particular matter is already settled to the extent of the investigations. So our client will, from now henceforth, move on with his life.
This coming just days after Mwathi's family declared being kept in the dark, in as much as the investigations into the death of their kin was concerned. According to the family, the DCI was engaged in a cover-up aimed at saving DJ Fatso after it was deemed almost impossible to commit suicide by jumping from Fatso's apartment grilled windows. The new turn of events comes after the exhumation of Mwathi's body and a second autopsy. An initial report filed at the Kasarani police station stated that Mwathi committed suicide by jumping from the 12th floor of a building on the night of February 22nd, 2023. At the time, Mwathi was visiting DJ Fatso's residential apartment at Redwood Apartment on Thika Road. Mwigi William, TV47.
To the latest from the world of business, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the government will support key projects to boost the country's blue economy. He said the Kenya Kwanza administration will work with the European Union and coastal counties to unlock the potential of the sector. While speaking in Mombasa when he presided over the launch of fishing boats acquired in partnership with the European Union under the Go Blue project, Gachagua said the government is ready to provide resources and requisite support to ensure the success of the blue economy. The Go Blue project is a partnership between the government and the European Union and aims at enhancing the country's blue economy through empowerment of local fishermen.
It is an important development since April 19th when we flagged off the first batch of 8 in Kwale. With this project, we unlock the potential of large sea opportunities in coastal urban centers for sustainable and inclusive economic growth. This will result in creation of employment while conserving and sustainably using the coastal and marine environment, as well as promoting effective and integrated maritime governance. Your Excellencies, I take note that some of the key activities in the project, this project is undertaking are aimed at accelerating sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic urban coastal growth. This is an important component in job creation, especially for the youth and women through skills and value chain development. This is by enhancing maritime governance through integrated and effective law enforcement.
Ile sera yetu ambayo tunaiunda pamoja tukichukua mawazo yao ili kuhakikisha tumeweza kufaulu katika mambo ya uchumi samawati. Na pia nimesema kwamba ule mswada ambao uko bungeni sasa ili kuangalia mambo yetu ya fedha ni muhimu tujihusishe kwa mawazo. Kwa sababu tumeona wengine wamefanya tishio ya kufanya maandamano kwa hiyo, lakini tunasema kwamba njia muhimu ni sisi kuweka mawazo yetu pamoja ili kuweza kuhakikisha ile ajenda ya rais na naibu ambayo inamlenga sana mwananchi wa chini inaweza kufanikiwa na nchi inaweza kufanikiwa kiuchumi.
Moving on, leaders of a Kenyan lobby group have met various government officials to push for the creation of a diaspora county in order to secure constitutional representation of Kenyans living abroad. Among those met were Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs, Roslyn Jogu, who assured them that the government will continue to work with all diaspora associations in order to enhance the welfare of Kenyans living abroad.
We've got about 13 African nationalities that we cover. So we have been doing the business for the past 12 years now. Our key product that we do is a funeral cash cover. We provide cash, right? So we pay out cash to bereaving families. So when you make a claim, submit your necessary documents for us to process the claim. Within 24 hours of processing those documents, we pay out cash to the beneficiaries. So when you make an application for the policy, you nominate 2 people that are going to be your beneficiaries. So these are the people that are going to let us know that someone has passed away on the policy. They submit the necessary documents, we process the documents, and then we pay out the cash as a lump sum into any nominated bank worldwide. Within 4 hours, you receive the money, and then you can do whatever you want with the cash.
I came with a top-level delegation from diaspora, representing all the 8 regions of diaspora, to meet with government officials to discuss issues